all to the Mental Health Hour. This is episode 24. We're talking about living with eating disorders tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, first off, let's go over one little piece of business. We'll talk about our special episode coming on the 24th of November. We have had to bump it up from it's too late for that. We've had to bump it up for scheduling reasons, and we're going to be moving it from the 1st to November 24th. So please make sure you hit up BioLink / TMHH, click on question form, and you can anonymously ask a question here at the show that we will go over on a live episode on the 24th of November,
Mhm.
6 p.m. my time, 11 p.m. Gemma's time. So head on over and submit your questions for us. And
Yeah.
hello, everybody. Hello, TJ. Hello, Med. Hello, James. And hello, Gemma.
Hello.
How are you this
Being
evening?
thrown by the technical starting, but
Yeah, we
why
kind
not?
of just stumbled right in here. That was
Just
less than
jumped it.
professional. And I was just thinking, we've gone a few weeks in a row without any technical issues from HAPS.
And we've just
Uh,
got a new starter as well. What
soon
happened?
as we went live, it started restarting the graphics halfway through the song, and two
Oh,
multicasts have failed. But whatever, we're gonna keep moving. That's what we do here.
we're
We
so
adapt
good.
and overcome. So
Yep.
tonight, eating disorders and coping, living with them, understanding them. What do you have on this for us,
Well,
Gemma?
been I've been through the eating disorders myself for a long time. Um, from I started at a very young age, but it wasn't diagnosed till a lot later. But yeah, I've done the whole binge eating, anorexia, and bulimia, had it all. So yeah, I can.
Hello, Pablo and Danny Bruno. Just ordered McDonald's.
Oh,
Ironically, very good. Um, well, we'll do as we start every show. We'll just go over some basic information, put some slides up. I'm going to go over the slides this week, and then Gemma's going to get into a little bit more deeper um, part of her
mm,
story on this particular topic, and then we will go ahead and get into any questions that you guys may have, and try and talk over some more talking points on the matter. But I'm going to go ahead and pop up the first slide. Um, we get ready here. So this is from Recovery Force. Another, again, just a simple Google search can bring you to a vast wealth of information on any of these topics that we discuss, and I try and give credit to all of the slides that we take from. So, signs and symptoms for eating disorders. Obviously, the physical signs is going to be far more noticeable. Your weight fluctuation, the stomach cramps, acid reflux. Um, your skin can yellow, especially under your fingernails or your fingernails themselves, from the repeated um, uh, vomit-inducing of bulimia, and then your behavioral side of things, the emotional signs and symptoms. We're looking at discomfort eating in front of others. Your picky eating. Again, that should not go ahead and say that if you are a picky eater, you have an eating disorder. Not the case at all.
mhm,
But it seems, I guess, it's more of a pronounced thing. Obsession with your weight, that's a big one. Constantly Gemma will probably get into what's called body dysmorphia, and talking about that. It's just a constant obsession with your image and your weight, in particular. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you're gonna see some extreme mood swings, and skipping meals is also a big sign and symptom of an eating disorder. Constant skipping of meals, not just your average, I missed lunch today,
Mm.
that kind of stuff. So, moving on ahead, we'll talk about some myths and facts for eating disorders. Eating disorders can affect people of any age group, caste, or gender. Um, so, excuse me. I'm gonna just hit a few of these because there's a lot. I will leave the link as well for this one. It's at the bottom of the slide there. Um, but I'll leave it on my channel page and in the Discord. Eating disorders are more complicated than unhealthy eating habits. That is more or less a fact. They're going to definitely have this complex side because it's more of a mental issue, a mental health problem than just the common "I'm not hungry" type of thing. Recovery from eating disorders is not impossible, but it may take a little longer. And it's not. It's not impossible at all. Um, all it does is it takes a little work, just like anything in this mental health field. Um, like my sobriety, for instance, is a constant upward battle, if you will. Some days easier than others, but we'll talk about that more as well as the show progresses. Vomiting is not the only outcome of bulimia. People also resort to methods like diuretics, fasting, and exercise. Um, Over exercise can be noticed as well. You'll notice people that spend huge lengths of time at the gym, or on the treadmill, just constantly trying to burn calories and just overdoing it. Let me look at what Michael says here. But but was obese, which never had an eating disorder, but was obese, which led to high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. So went on a weight loss journey. Successful lost weight, both my blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. That's awesome, Michael. Very good. Very, very awesome news. Glad that is working out for you. Uh, Continuing on, just one or two more here. Binge eaters are not lazy people, but food is used by them to cope with various difficult situations. I have talked with somebody I know that's in Overeaters Anonymous, which is basically, Alcoholics Anonymous for the overeaters. So and they cope. Hi, Jason. They do cope with certain depression, anxiety, feelings through binge eating. Um, and then, of course, the bulimia side of things would come in if you've started feeling guilty about eating, binge eating, or overeating. Then you want to induce vomiting, try and get it out of you. This is specifically harmful to the insides of your body. And we'll go over that here in just a second. And one more I wanted to hit. Each eating disorder is dangerous with its own set of physical and psychological complications. And eating disorders are caused by a host of factors. Just wanted to mention that too before we go to the next slide. There could be a multitude of things happening inside your own body, inside your own brain, your mental health that may differ from somebody else with an eating disorder. It's not like a clear set of this, and this. Uh, Now, the symptoms and what the actions and whatnot are pretty well cut across the board. But as far as the inside psychological aspect of it, it can vary all over the map between people. Moving on, just some statistics here for you. 8 million Americans suffer with an eating disorder or struggle. And about 50%, half of all Americans know somebody who has an eating disorder. That's an astounding number. Half
Hmm.
of the United States. Um, Eating disorders affect both males and females and often strike during adolescence. If not treated, they can have serious, even fatal consequences. Um, Absolutely true. Um, this is not one of those that is gender specific or um, any kind of person specific. It can affect anybody. Much like most of our mental health topics here on this show. 10 to 15% of people with anorexia or bulimia uh, who are males. 95% of people with eating disorders are aged 12 to 25. So we're looking at that part again where I said it's striking a lot in adolescence. 12 to 25 age group is, right in that high, going into high school, puberty, everything's starting to uh, form, and you're becoming a person in the world before long. And so your image becomes far more valued to yourself and what you're putting out there. And then 18 to 20% of anorexics die within 20 years of contracting the disease. Um, and then finally, just the last slide I wanted to go over was some of the effects on your body. We did this last week with the alcohol episode, and I liked that, so I wanted to bring it to this week as well because it affects uh, just about every part of your body there when you have an eating disorder. Um, if you see on the left and right, underneath of each category, like brain, it has the two colored dots, orange and red. Orange is for bulimia, red for anorexia. So you can see that most of them hit on every single one, but bulimia has just a few of its own. Um, we'll just hit a couple here of the brain. You got the depression, fear of gaining weight, anxiety, bad memory, dizziness, low self esteem. Your heart, you get the irregular heartbeat, heart muscles weaken, um, failure, and then obviously with all of that will be accompanied by low pulse rate and blood pressure. Um, Looking at your skin, you can bruise easily. You get dry skin, abrasion of knuckles, brittle nails, yellow skin. Uh, for bulimia only, the throat and esophagus come into play because of the
Mm.
um, all of the vomiting you're inducing. Your throat and esophagus get tore up. The sore, irritated, tear and rupture. These are just something to mention about the bulimia side of things, other than um, anorexia. Also, for bulimia, your mouth, cavities, gum disease, all your dentistry is out the window when it comes to bulimia. Uh,
Oh
the,
yeah.
the acid and everything and bile that you bring up, because a lot of times after you get the initial uh, bout of dinner up, if you will, trying not
Mm.
to be so graphic as it is right around dinner time on the East Coast, uh, you will only start bringing up bile and just stomach acid.
Mhm.
Looking at your muscles and joints and bones, they get weakened. The joints will swell. Obviously, fatigue sets in, mainly probably from dehydration, which you'll see that on the other side there, the bodily fluids. You get dehydrated, low potassium, magnesium, and sodium. All those are very crucial um, for healthy blood work. Um, and lastly, stomach ulcers, pain, and your stomach can rupture with bulimia only. Just a couple things to look at there. And again, I'll put some links in on my channel page in our Discord and uh, probably Twitter as well to share out. So you can continue looking at these if it's harder to see on the screen. Um, we completely understand. That's why we like to put that information out there.
Hmm.
And so, building off of what we've just gone over, Gemma, can you tell us a little bit about your experiences with an eating disorder? You know, what
Hmm.
you what you have, what you've been through, and basically what you do to keep that uh, at bay, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. So my earliest recollection of potentially having eating disorders was I'd have been around about 11, 12, and I was deliberately skipping meals. And as we say, not just one or two, but like lots. And then it started more with like the binge eating, where I would take and like multi packs of crisps, so like 6, 8 packs of crisps, eat them all in one go, eat multiple things of chocolate, and then came the guilt of doing that, like, oh my god, I'm gonna get fat. And it started with the bulimia where I was making myself sick, and it got that bad for me where I was doing it that often that there was something that stopped me being physically able to do it anymore after quite a long time. There was quite a few years of this going on, and it got to where I couldn't make myself sick anymore, so I had to look at alternative things. Like, at first, I started chugging, salt water, things like that, to make myself vomit. Um, then massively, massively overusing laxatives as a way of ridding myself of that, fat that I'd consumed because I was binge eating. Um, that was, like, the biggest thing for me, but with the bulimia as well and being sick, I have damaged my teeth, and I have, I don't know if it's related or anything, but I do have, like, hernias and things like that, and I did damage my esophagus because of all the you know, um, then the skin, the like you say, the bruising, everything like that, it was pretty bad. Um, I've got something here where it says about the symptoms because I couldn't remember which was which with them all, but I know that I got a very, very low weight, and it does say about, yeah, making yourself vomit using laxatives, extreme amount of exercise as well, which thinking about it, I did. I would go and put my headphones in, and I would walk for miles and miles and miles just to burn off anything. And I think what triggered this all for me is being bullied, because at first it started that I was being bullied for my name, or for just the way I looked, for the way I walked, because with me being born with a disability, I wasn't walking at that time the way that most people were. My feet were turned, and then as a result of that, then there came the name calling about. They'd say things like, "Oh, if it's going to be windy, you're gonna blow away, or you'll snap," things like that. Now I've got a couple of pictures to share that I found from when I was a lot younger. So I'm gonna have to show them up like this, but I did get very, very unwell. Like, there's one there. I used to wear very baggy clothes so that you couldn't see. And then this one here, I was very, very unwell, and I didn't know at the time. that anything was going on, and it went undiagnosed for a very long time. And I think the trigger point for getting the diagnosis, I was in work at that time because it had started at school and it had gone on way into my 20s. And I was in work and they'd had a celebration buffet for somebody's birthday. It was a big birthday. And I had completely avoided going in there because there was all this food and I didn't want to know. I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to get involved. And I'd gone quite a few days without eating. Hey, Linny. And I ended up collapsing at work because of having had nothing to eat for days and days and still having the desire to need to make myself sick because that's when the body dysmorphia and things was in there. And I still very much have body dysmorphia. I don't think it's something that you can ever really get rid of
Can you break
because,
that down a little bit more? Body dysmorphia.
yeah. So with the body dysmorphia, what you see of me, like my size, my complexion, any of that, I see, say for example, if I've got a scar, if it's a small scar, and you can probably barely see it, but I can see it, and it's like that is the thing that I will focus on. Like if I get a pimple or something, that will be the main focus for me. Like, oh my God, I've got this pimple. It's horrendous. I've got to get rid of it. It's like it preys in your mind so much more than it would for anybody else. And the way that I see myself physically. So if somebody, for example, asked me to compare myself to somebody in size, I would always compare myself to somebody of a larger frame because that is genuinely how I did and still do see myself. Now, I have lost over 150 pounds in weight, all in all now. So I've lost a lot. I was on steroids, which accounted for a lot of those medication, a lot of that weight. But I've lost all that weight, yet still in my mind, I see very little difference from me then to me now. And that is like the body dysmorphia. I am aware I have it now. It took a lot for me to accept that I had that and that
Yeah.
maybe some of the thoughts I were having were actually not maybe
So,
the best of thoughts.
kind of a layman's terms breakdown for it.
Mhm.
I'll put up a picture here. Um,
Yeah.
this kind of is what
Mhm.
does this basically help you or help the
That's
audience
exactly it.
understand? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what reality is not what
Mhm.
you're seeing in the mirror. You know,
Yeah.
you're seeing something completely different, and you don't like it. It's
Mhm.
something that it's a psychological thing. Um, you know, that
Mhm.
is it's up to your brain to how do you get past this as you were just getting ready to get into, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it took many, many years, and I was having a lot of therapy to help with recognizing that it wasn't all like reasonable thoughts that I were having. Like there's even now when I'm going to buy clothing, for example, I will pick up the larger sizes thinking there's no way I can fit into that number because such and such is that size and I'm not that size. And like a lot of the clothes I have are baggy. I will wear them baggy because I am very, very much aware of my like because I've lost weight and because I've had a C-section, say for example, like I'm very much aware of that. And I don't like clothes that show my figure. For
Sure.
me to do that is huge, and people like, say, for example, if somebody will compliment me on what I'm wearing, now I will say thank you.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the time I'm still thinking, "Are they just saying that?" It depends who it is a lot of the time. But it took a lot of time for me to actually just accept that they were just probably being nice and, like, they probably meant it, and that I do see myself differently to the way other people do. And there are times where I wish I could see myself through somebody else's eyes,
Mhm.
just to see what people think of me, what people see of me. Not everybody's eyes, but um, I do like acknowledge now that maybe my own mindset isn't the kindest to me, and it's taken a lot to get there. And I said to you the other day, didn't I, that I feel like my eating disorder's probably rearing its ugly head again. I can feel it.
Mhm.
Some of that is down to other medical conditions that I'm having, but the fact that I was hungry the other day and I'm like, no, and it automatically thought of weight. I'm like, I've done it a few times and I'm thinking, right, okay, we need to stamp this out before it gets anywhere. And the way that I do it, I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. I find it very helpful to look back at some of my older photos of
Mhm.
where I was and how far I've come. And I have lost a huge amount of weight. I have lost more weight than what I currently weigh, which is a huge it's huge for me, and I like to hang on to something. Like, I've got a pair of my jeans that I used to have at my biggest, and I can literally fit in one leg now. And I find that that helps to show that I've come this far and that I'm not as big as I used to be.
Yeah.
And also, like, to to see other people at their extremes, like,
Mm.
if, for example, there's a picture of somebody who is really unwell with that, just sometimes to look at that and think, "I don't wanna be like that," that is enough for me to think, "No, I can't go there." And just one example of that for me, like, this is why I've got baggy on at the moment, because I've lost a lot of weight around this part of me, and I'm very bony up here, and that has been triggering things in my mind, and then I'm thinking, "Okay, yeah, that's why we can't go there with the eating disorder again," because I think it's like any kind of addiction or disorder, it never goes away completely. It's always
Mhm.
there, but it's how
That's
you progress with it.
that's what I
It's
was gonna ask.
mm,
You know, as moving forward, well, I had a few questions. You know, do, when you look in the mirror today,
mhm.
are you still seeing are you still seeing this picture, or do you think that has kind of gotten maybe not all the way better, but better in ways?
Um, it's certainly not as bad as that, but it is far from reality.
But at
Like,
one point in time, it was
oh yeah,
different. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so I mean, things are progressing in a positive
Mhm.
nature for you,
Yeah, yeah.
and that leads me to my next question. Was
Mhm,
as I've discussed several times on here, with the sobriety, I have to work a very strong program to keep
mm,
ahead of uh, any relapse. And just like with drinking or drugs,
mhm.
a person with an eating disorder can have a relapse as well.
Oh, yeah.
Relapse as a word is not solely for substance abuse. I feel like it
Mhm,
comes off, it's probably used a lot more in substance abuse, but
mhm,
it can, uh, encompass number of different things. So,
Yeah.
Gemma, for you, are you working any type of a program, or do you do anything on a regular basis to make sure that you do not have a relapse and
Mhm.
in this manner?
I find keeping a food diary helpful, and I have an app on my phone where I keep a record of my food intake and the calories. Not it's not at all now for losing weight or anything. It's more about making sure that I do get enough. Now, currently, with things that are going on medically for me, it's difficult at the moment, but it was a way of making sure that I got enough food because sometimes you can get to the point where when you skip enough meals, you don't feel hungry
Hmm.
and you don't feel like you can sometimes think, did I have something to eat? Did I not? And I did that often. So I had to keep a physical like diary of things that I'd eaten
Hmm.
as a way of
That's
helping.
that's a great piece of advice. You know, I've
Mhm,
often touted journaling has helped me
mhm,
immensely along my journey.
yeah,
And just it doesn't even have to be a daily journal, you know.
mhm,
Um, but
yeah,
a food diary, that what a great thought and what a great thing to put
mm.
out there for folks. And if
If anybody
uh,
wants any of the apps that I mean, like, obviously, it's just what I find helpful, but I'm more than happy to share some of them, um, with
yeah,
people, but there's
I,
some that
I
you
would
can get that do help calorie count and help with weight loss
I would
and
definitely
things
say to
like that.
throw them in the Discord at least.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, please private message,
Mhm,
use our bio link. All of our DMs are in there. If
mhm.
you want any more information on those apps, I'm gonna be more than happy to send them out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great thought, a food
but
diary,
it
and just
is
keeping track of
mhm.
what you're putting in, and
Yeah, yeah,
calories and everything.
because
Maybe
it's
that
always
could
like
almost even. I'm sorry, that could
yeah,
almost even uh, show you the calories that you've put into your
mhm,
body and that it isn't an excessive amount to the point where
yeah.
you're thinking that you're looking like that picture from earlier.
'Cause the app that I use, you can scan the barcode if it's a like, say, for example, a packet of crisps or chocolate bar or even like a microwave meal or something, it has a a huge diary of, like, the things that you can buy, and it knows how many calories and everything are in what you are scanning, so you scan the barcode of it, and it logs it automatically, unless, of course, it's something that you are making yourself, different broadcast. But you can if it's something you're making yourself, for example, like, you can say, for example, I made a chili con carne the other day, and you can type that in, and you can select where, for example, you bought your meat from, which how many gram packets it is, and it will break it down for you and make it really simple for you to use.
Hmm.
And a lot of the time, I would think to myself that I had massively overeaten. Now, for a woman, I believe it's 2,000 calories a day. For a man, 2,500. Certainly over here, that's what
Hmm.
it is. And I was thinking that I was eating in excess for so long, and it turns out I wasn't even getting a quarter of what I was supposed to be getting. And yes,
Calorie
with
intake.
binge eating. Yeah, yeah. With the binge eating, for certain, when I was badly binge eating, I was having, I would say, at least 7 or 8 times the amount that I should have, and that could just sometimes be in one sitting because it was that bad, and the triggers for me sometimes would be, like, if I'd had a particularly bad day. It isn't always about because I used to self-harm as well. It isn't always about, like, I'm gonna go cut my wrists, for example. Sometimes I'd be like it'd be the high that you get off the sugar intake And by
Mhm.
eating all that sugar, you'd get an instant, like, buzz from that, like somebody maybe would from, I don't know, just to be put it crudely, like the kick you get from smoking a joint, say, or something like that, the
Mhm.
instant high you get. But then
Sure.
when that sugar starts working its way out of you, it's the crash and burn then that it's like as it's coming out of your system.
Yeah.
That
The
is the time when you really need to be careful, I think, because
yeah,
when I was at that low
the
and it
dump.
was crash and burn, oh, it's the things that would spiral out of control after that, and we would go from, like, I mean, yeah, I often would have vomited before then as well, but
Now the
it's
anxiety kicks in.
yeah, and then it'd be
Yeah.
going like, "I'm fat," and there was a few occasions where because I got to the extreme and I would go around, like, getting obviously, I'm not gonna do it on my stomach, but I would go like this on my stomach and get see if there was any rolls.
Mhm.
I'd be getting them, and I would literally draw on my skin, and, I'd measure it. I'd be measuring myself several times a day with tape measures and things.
So
And
it's a pretty obsessive thing.
yeah, oh, yeah, and there
Okay.
was one particularly bad occasion where I had got that obsessed and that focused on the fact that I had a bit of skin that I could nip, that
Mhm.
I actually went to nearly very, very close to cutting it off or trying to do that. I was that obsessed. And yes, I did start hacking at myself.
Mm.
I don't know what it is that stopped me to this day. I don't know what it is that stopped me because having been where I used to self-harm, sometimes the blood for me would do it as well. But 99% of the time for me, the self-harming wasn't about the blood. It was about taking the physical and mental pain from here and in here and relocating it to getting that ouch, that hurts, not ouch, that hurts.
Mm.
Um,
So
so I
there's a
think that
couple of interesting things to go over here
Mhm,
as I've been listening to your story there, and thank you so much for sharing that. And
mhm,
both of us, for you, for anybody in the audience, or replay viewers, we're always more than willing to share with others about what we've been through. That really helps us, and it helps, hopefully, it helps you guys as well to connect and to know that you're not alone in this world. But to go over a couple of things that I heard that were just going through my brain while you were speaking. Um, in looking from earlier, we were talking about the effects on your cardiac or your cardio system,
mhm,
um, cardiovascular. Sorry, uh, you're going to see over time your pulse rate drop, blood
mhm,
pressure tanking, just a low blood pressure all around. But at the same time, these things that cause you so much anxiety, which does the exact opposite, increases your heart rate till you're tachycardic, and it increases your blood pressure till you're hypertensive. So it's just like that's just something to think about. It's a constant up and up and down, and that is a huge toll on your body and your heart, uh, and the way your body is able to operate. Something I thought about while you were talking there, and just that roller coaster of ups and downs in your body that really does specific and harmful, damage to it. And we can
mhm.
throw this back up real quick. Um, but
Oh, yeah,
all of
I
the
most
all
of
of
those.
the Gemma, how many of these can you hit on? Um,
Yeah, like,
the
so certainly I had, it's even to this day, like, the severe vomiting has caused irreparable damage to my teeth.
yeah,
The brain, like, they have actually said that some, not all, but some of my memory problems to this day stem from those incidents because I would make myself so very sick that it would cause very, very severe, like it says in there actually, bad memory, I'm having trouble reading it, but, um, like with the severe vomiting and things like that, and the constant retching and the damage to my esophagus and everything like that because of bringing up just stomach acid, and it would burn, like, it would come or it would burn everything,
Hmm.
and it's caused, like, more noticeable. I'm very, very self-conscious about my teeth to the point where I actually got veneers at one point, but I can't wear them because it sounds like I've had a skinful, basically. I can't talk with them in. But I was very, very self-conscious about my teeth because of that. Um,
Yeah. And then also the the bruising and stuff that we talked about. That
yeah.
can that's almost directly. Oh, Ella, thank you for the haps hug. That's almost directly to do with all the dehydration, the constant state of dehydration that your body's in, um, and it's going to age your skin very quickly. And yeah, the hormones you are also talking about, and the stomach
Mhm,
pains and ulcers, just all of these things that pretty much it's almost the same as what we looked at last week with the alcohol. Um,
mhm,
reading some of these, you get the memory loss, you get stomach ulcers.
mhm,
It lines up pretty well. The sore joints and everything, along with alcohol, you get
mhm,
the gout, and all of those things. The other thing that I took a gander at while you were talking, because I wasn't 100% sure myself, but um,
mhm,
that's I wanted to look it up to put the information out there. Now, this is just a dietary guidelines for Americans. I don't know the numbers for the UK, but we can certainly find those and put them out there later. But just for a brief kind of look at it for now, calories wise, your body needs. It says needs. Um, so calories are not all bad,
mhm.
but for women in America, it's stated an average of between 1,600 to 2,400 calories per day, and for men, it can be
Different.
anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 calories per day, and that's
I for them here.
and
It's,
that's
for women,
needed.
yeah. They say for an average healthy female that is not seeking to lose weight, it's 1,500 to 2,000 here.
Mhm,
And again, for an average healthy male that is not looking to lose weight here, it is 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day.
mhm.
If you are looking to lose weight, that differs, but that would differ on you as a person. And I would recommend getting some professional advice with that based on
Yeah.
your BMI and the amount of weight you need to lose. But yeah, that is for an average healthy female and male.
Yes, and obviously, looking at 50% of Americans know somebody with an eating disorder. Looking at that number, that I mean, that's a huge number. Um, so obviously, if you're noticing signs in one of your friends or family members or yourself, even, Jim and I highly encourage uh,
Mhm,
linking up with some kind of professional counselor. Um, just starting there, maybe a psychologist or psychiatrist, even. Um, And then also keeping in touch with your primary care physician is going to be big here as well, because they'll be able to get you on a good diet, um, and maybe help you along the way with what something like Gemma was talking about earlier, keeping a food diary.
mhm,
Because I really liked that suggestion. It is a journaling is uh, just
mm,
such a therapeutic way to handle it's grounding too. Any
mhm,
anxiety or anything, just writing it down and basically reading over it. Like you can go back, 2 years from now and read what you were going through 2 years ago and see how far you've come. You could also use it as a playbook for your life. Like, you know, this is what I did. This worked, and let's do this again. This did not work. Let's try not to do that again. That kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the detriments to the insides of your body, and emotionally, it's taxing, to constantly be in a state of ups and downs, highs and lows. Uh,
Hmm.
that takes a lot out of anybody, um, and that's exactly what's happening as you live with it an eating disorder. You're not nourishing your body, which puts you at a low, uh, internally, physically, at a low. No
Hmm.
energy, uh, no desire to get up and do anything, depression, etc. But then you eat, or you uh, get worried about your image in the mirror, and now
Hmm.
the anxiety starts hitting, and the heart rate goes up and the blood pressure goes up, and it's just up and down and up and down. And yes,
Hmm.
that is a very taxing thing for your body. um, so please, yes, if there's anybody that needs any further information, um, on some
Got the app
resources,
here if you
any
want me to share
resources
it.
that we can help you with, we can help get in contact with, or like Gemma said, she's going to post the apps in our
Mhm.
Discord for the mental health hour, um, and we can certainly accommodate, in any way that we can. That's what we're here for. That's what we like to do. Um,
Mhm.
just know that you're more than welcome to. Our doors are always open, to talk to
Yeah,
us about any of these issues. But keep in mind, though, that we want to keep putting it out there that we're not. Jem and I aren't trained therapists.
yeah.
So, hey, Steve, how are you? But yes, moving forward, I did want to also touch on the fact that, uh, uh, I'm sorry. I remember now. The vicious circle of these two are in so much alignment. So my alcoholism from last week, I would I was in this vicious loop of drinking, to mask depression, but then being so very depressed over my drinking. And it's just a constant loop that I was stuck in. And it seems to be almost the same exact thing here, with the body dysmorphia. You're constantly in that vicious loop that, you eat, um, to suppress the feelings, and to hit those good endorphins, and, um, get yourself feeling good. But then now you've become guilt ridden and depressed because you've eaten so much, and you're never going to be able to lose all this weight. And there's that vicious circle again that, somebody with an eating disorder can fall into and get trapped, like, just a spinning whirlpool. Um, and I mean, would you agree with that, Gemma? Did you find yourself in any kind of a loop there where it just you seemed
Oh, yeah.
stuck?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Like,
when
can
I
we ever
thought
get
I
out
was
of this?
when I thought I was maybe getting better, and then it would just completely just go full circle, and I thought certainly from start to getting a diagnosis, it took, what? I'd say about 8 years till I got an official diagnosis of anything. Um, Partly because I was so good at hiding it, um, but
Thank you guys for all the
it's
awards, by the
it's
way.
like you say with the alcohol as well, like, I would do certain things to both allow myself to continue and
Hmm.
to make it so that I wasn't the problem with doing this, and yeah, certainly when we've gone through talking about what things that you did with the alcohol and stuff, like,
Hey, Carrie.
I would do that with food and trying to accommodate being able to allow myself to continue doing that because I felt that that's what I needed to do, and
Mhm.
I felt I was fat and I needed to do this. And I knew when I went from not eating anything to being really poorly, thinking, okay, well, if I have food and I allow it to stay in my body for a little bit and then throw up, then that
Then you're
will give
getting that
me energy
nourishment that you
from the
need.
food. Yeah, and I thought that way I'm getting rid of the fat. And you can get these tablets. Trying to think what they're called now. Um, Basically, it's so that it stops you. It's for weight loss. They're called Ally over here. The brand name is Ally.
Mhm.
Um, can't think of the drug name, but I'll look it up in a minute. And it stops you digesting the fat.
Oh.
Um, I'm gonna look it
Are
up.
they is it, is it a healthy alternative to I mean, are these approved
Um,
for
you can
or are
get
they
them.
just another problem?
Um, Depends how you use them. So for a while, I was using them in the wrong way so that I could get away
Right,
with
so,
eating fat
if you get
food.
eh, yeah,
It
we don't wanna
If you're gonna
put
do it
anything
and you
out there
do it
that you could potentially abuse.
properly, yeah, if you're gonna do it and you do it properly, yes, it's helpful if you genuinely need to lose weight. But then if your doctor thinks you need to lose weight, then yes, you will be prescribed them. You can be prescribed them.
Well, I can't tell you the last time I went to the doctor and he didn't tell me I need to
Mhm.
lose weight, but, uh,
So,
looking at the
that's the
chart
thing.
looking
Like,
at the chart at his office, though, I should be the weight I was in middle school, but that's besides the point.
I've always
Um,
said, like, don't go by the BMI. I know the doctors do, but having had an eating disorder, it is not helpful going with the BMI
mhm,
because I'm 5'9", okay? And according to my BMI, I am still deemed as well, I was not long ago, still deemed as partially overweight. And it's like, well, you know, how much more weight does they think that I need to lose based on my BMI? So
absolutely.
it's not always helpful. As long
I
as
don't
you're
think anybody
healthy.
has ever thought that the doctor's office has been on point with their numbers 'cause it gets to that point, like, how much weight do they want me to lose? But yeah, and at the same time, that can become a problem as well, and that could only fuel the, emotional side of things for the person with the eating disorder that's trying to get past this and manage it and live a healthy lifestyle. Now you're getting it from your primary care physician that
Mhm,
you need to lose weight, but you can't possibly be even slightly overweight. Yeah, no. Um, but like I said, it's that's another thing entirely.
mhm.
When we're talking about an eating disorder, I mean, you're never going to appease your doctor, right? But when
Oh,
we're talking about an eating disorder, that it's completely separate ball of
no. Mhm.
wax. So we're coming up
Yeah.
on the hour mark. Did you have any final thoughts, Gemma, for anything you might have missed,
Um, Trying to think,
or does
like,
anybody have any questions?
I'd certainly definitely say for anyone that's struggling with be it an eating disorder or anything to do with food, definitely look at getting a food diary because it's eye-opening, it really is, and sometimes you won't realize just how probably little you're getting or how little calories certainly for me, but it can also help with a healthy weight loss if
Sure,
you are genuinely needing to lose weight, but and in regards to the body dysmorphia as well, like, obviously, that's a whole different topic, so I'm not gonna go, like, into it loads.
sure,
Maybe we can touch on it another time as well, but
absolutely,
I have got some healthy and, helpful tips for that if anyone needs them,
yes.
but, yeah, like,
And
t
a great point
yeah.
you brought up. Don't that app, the food diary apps. Yeah, they shouldn't just be for anybody with an eating disorder that wants to manage their life with an eating disorder. These are, like Gemma just said, also very helpful tools for if you are trying to actually lose weight, a little bit of weight, healthily lose weight, um,
Mhm,
and try and track. And I believe that's what they were originally designed for. Um, but yes, it can certainly be a great tool to help
mhm,
with the eating disorders as well. Um, that being said, we're gonna have to wrap up here as I have a appointment to get to in about a half an hour. But um, I did want to thank Gemma very much for being open and sharing about this topic. This is not an easy thing to discuss. Most of the stuff that we talk about on here is not easy to discuss, but we find both of us find that opening up about it and sharing with you guys that come back every week and support us and support our cause here and what we're trying to do, it really does help us. So thank you all for joining in every week, and thank you for all the awards. I did want to mention real quick, uh, since we did vegan does uh, uh, charity walk last month. This month, Frederick County Fire Rescue, alongside all of our brethren across the country, are raising money for Muscular Dystrophy Association. This is the MDA is something that the fire department has been deeply rooted with for many, many, many years. And every year we team up and try and fight muscular dystrophy by raising money. If you care to donate, please don't. It doesn't have to be to me. This should be going on across the country. Like I said, we're doing it virtually this year as of COVID-19 has shut us down from being in the intersections again. But we do love to be out there uh, on the streets with you all. But for now, this will have to do. Hopefully, next year we're back out in the streets. I did put the tiny girl down there for Frederick, but if you'd rather do your own jurisdiction, if you're inclined to and want to help out with the cause and help the firefighters across the nation raise money for muscular dystrophy, uh,
mhm.
it is such an important cause and affects a
I've put
lot of
your link
children.
on the bio link as well. It's at the top on our
Yes,
bio link.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And also, one last time, we'll go ahead and throw up the Mental Health Hour special we're moving it to the 24th of November at 6 p.m. Eastern. Please hit the bio.link/TMHH to submit us a question completely anonymously. Um, you could, you do have the option to write your name in if you'd like, but even still, there's no way for us to know if that is true or not. I could send one right now, and Gemma would have no idea it was from me.
Mhm.
And I'm a co-host of the show, so it truly is anonymous. Please
Yeah.
submit some questions. We're very excited about this. Try and get this, and if it is successful, we will do more down the road. Um, and as always, thanks to our active sponsors, mybunnyvalentine.com. Uh, go hit up www.mybunnyvalentine.com. Use your code FIREDUDE15, all lowercase, and get 15% off of your purchase. I have quite a few of their products, and everybody in the family loves them. Uh,
I have some coming, and I used your
so
code too.
Ella is in the comments right now, and yeah, I think Ella said yours are on the way. They are in the air, or
Yeah.
out of the country at least, heading your way. So yes, please support local business. Support our good friend Ella and Puppy Cat. And then also tonight for we don't have Catalyst tonight because we're on Thursday, but Jim in
Mhm.
Chicagoland is doing another broadcast called Haps Huddle at 11:30 p.m. after Hap Stars tonight. Um,
Yeah.
so you got Hap Stars with Joe and Carrie, and then you got Haps Huddle uh, and I believe Joe and Carrie have Miho on tonight, the musician from Australia, I think it is. So
Yeah.
that should be a good one to tune into. Um, Thank you again, as always. That is all I have. Do you have anything, Gemma?
Um, no, I don't think so. I know Andrew's on. Andrew from Scotland's on in an hour as well for us UK folk.
Ah, yes,
Anybody
and
wants a good phone
Jeremy's.
box quiz?
Is it
I'm
his
going
phone box
to,
quiz tonight?
it is. I need to get my
Uh,
3rd win in a row. I've won the last 2.
Okay. And
But,
Jeremy is on or no, I'm sorry. Jeremy is on before Hap Stars. 9
okay.
p.m. Eastern time. Every night he's on. We all love Jeremy. And all right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all the awards. We really greatly appreciate it. And we'll be back again next week on our normal Wednesday for a new episode of the Mental Health Hour. Bye for now.
Bye.